that is much easier than any way we've ever handled errors before for asynchronous tasks. Yeah, I should definitely have covered that part. Sorry.
And is that a required?
No. You can have just one callback here, but then you'll be ignoring errors.
Yeah, no. Okay.
It's not required, but you should. It's a do it. You know you want to do it.
They just make it required.
I know they should. They make it so it won't compile. I'm sure there's a way to make it so it wouldn't compile. Actually, it's an open source library. You can go ahead and write your own. you can send a pull request back and say this should be required. Because this stuff is actively being developed. It's less than 2 years old. People may take a pull request like that. You never know. Yeah. Yeah. So everyone, are you feeling good about reactive programming? Are you going to take it home and use it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's a huge number of programming languages that implement this. If you're interested, there's a website called reactivex.io. And this is where you learn all about reactive programming for any platform you need. And this, by the way, is not a complete list. These are the officially supported languages for Rx, for reactive extensions. So I just showed you RxJava, but you can do JavaScript, C#, Unity, Scala, whatever. I know there's a few not listed on here, like Rust and others that are unofficial ports. So if you're looking to work in any other language, you can apply these same concepts. Keeping in mind, like C# is where this all came from. So in some languages, this stuff has become baked into the way that people write their code. I mean, it's gotten a lot of acceptance. What's that?
Async await, baby.
Async awake, yeah.
It's just there. You just have to do it. The one question I have is when you start using it, when you start subscribing to that asynchronous approach, it bubbles all the way through, all the way to the top. And in essence, from what I found, a lot of the experts say, you just have to basically hold on to the chain, and at the very end, let your consumer app handle it. Because they're the only context that truly can wait. That's the main thread, right?
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that what you find, or is there other patterns?
What do you mean that?
Well, I guess, when you start programming, especially in C# or whatever, it has the construct of async await.
Yeah.
And I think Java 8 does.
Yeah.
But so when you start decorating that in your middle tier, or even if you're in your data tier, wherever you're at, right?
Yeah.
So what you do is you create this cascading effect.
Yeah.
And everybody call that app immediately breaks. Or that, they break.
Yeah.
And if they don't break, they will eventually break at runtime because they're on the other end of their wait.
Oh yeah.
They're basically awaiting and they don't know it, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like once you start introducing this to your guys, this is the question.
Yeah.
And this, when you introduce this into your programming, you have to basically bubble it all the way to the top.
I find obviously until you subscribe to it doesn't do anything.
But if you don't subscribe to it, you're not going to get anything.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you don't subscribe to it, it's just dead code.
Yeah. Right.
So at some level, yes, you're writing the backend code. You'll have to test it outside of the context where it goes to main.
Right. And that's where it becomes an insanely hard to test, right?
No, it's not just hard to test. You can pass observables into anything. In a unit testing standpoint, trying to reproduce a race condition in imperative code, it's almost impossible to do something where you're basically trying to instigate, deadlock. Yeah. In this code, it's easy. But you're saying from the
you're guessing, right? If you do it in imperative code.
Yes.
It might happen.
It might happen, yeah. But in this code, you can actually reproduce it by passing in the exact conditions that would cause it into your unit test. So I think this is easier, at least from a consumer side. But obviously, Netflix, the reason they picked this up is because their middle tier was far more stable when they introduced RxJava.
I'm just curious what you thought. The other thing is, because this is basically a core functionality.
Yeah, it is functional.
So I mean, how long would you say? No, I don't know.
I'm actually not a diehard functional person. I was interested in this because it took the parts of functional that were really, really super useful and brought it in a way that I could still use side effects and do beautiful programming.
So my only question there is how often when you are using Rx and using functional, you run into scenario where you hit the wall. So basically, Christopher,
Yeah.
Does that happen often?
I think the worst example I've ever had was when I was trying to implement a delay with exponential call off for network requests. I was writing a library for my own to handle both delay and exponential call off, for both the delay and the request itself. And at that point, you have to then start thinking like how you were returning either a observable or an error, and then that you have to put a timer on each new observable you're emitting. And it's right, exactly like in the articulate matrix. Those situations have been rare so far, but they occur. So.
Well, I mean, that's you asked the question, do you want to do this? And
right.
The little bit that I've ran into with F#, C#, Swift, and now this,
yeah.
every time I start getting into it, it hurts.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess for most of the cases I've dealt with, it's been good, but I mean, everyone's going in this direction. I mean, you look at like all the NoSQL databases, every single one is switching over to observables as the return values from their backend databases. It is awesome, and they're doing it because they see the value that maybe people don't. They see the value that they can do something that the old school databases can't do. Essentially, they can provide you something like the middle tier of the Netflix would do.
In the example you are giving where you are introducing the delay in the network,
Yeah.
network call, and you are trying to handle the exceptions or something like that.
Yep.
On the circuit breaker,
Tier breaker.
circuit breaker of network, the districts implementation.
Oh, Hystrix. Yes, Hystrix returns observables. It handles a lot of these things, and they're using that throughout their infrastructure. So Netflix is buying all levels of their company are using Reactive right now.
So yeah. Basic use case, the business will be Reactive can be applied on for a web-based application. Can apply this as this comes in and Rx, which works similar to Node.js. Can I do that?
I heard part of your question. So when a request comes in and it's
I
on the
would say,
web,
can I make it in Node.js and implementation becomes Rx?
yes, RxJS should probably work with Node.js. I'm pretty sure of that. And actually, Jafar Hussain, who is the development manager at Netflix, did a brilliant web series on how to use RxJS, and it just walks you from basic principles to some account. He's not done yet. He's still making it. I'd look for Jafar Hussain's video series. Yeah, I guess it's time for all of us. Thanks for having me.